Hello and welcome to Strange Planet. By the way, before I begin my review, I'm very grateful and thankful to those of you who watch my Carl Grimes from The Walking Dead Survives the Walker by. I was floored by how quick the number of views went up on that. I was like, holy snap. So I'm very grateful and I thank you. And if this is your first time visiting this channel, please, by all means, consider subscribing. This weekend it finally arrived. Yeah, it did. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, was released in theaters. I saw it Friday night. I put a little blurb about me walking into it in the Wide Range Media channel. I'll put the link below so you can check it out. It was just a little quick. I'm going to go in now and I'm excited. Okay, I saw the movie. And I came back torn. So, there's been a lot of stuff in the media, all over YouTube, all over Facebook, all over all the social media, everything that's media related. There have been it has been like a schism, basically, of Star Wars fandom that's been just cut straight down the middle about this movie. People are torn. People from all kinds of fans, from, old fogies like myself who saw the first film back in 1977. I saw it in 78, actually. Whatever. And, the new fans, some liked the movie, some didn't like the movie. And I'm sitting on the fence. I've had to marinate on it, sit and watch it, and just be like, something's off. So, I had to do something a little different with this review, as opposed to other people. Well, there's a lot of good reviews out there, to be honest with you, on YouTube. So I'm probably not going to review as much as the exact same stuff, maybe that other people do. But, I'm going to reveal what Ralph, the Star Wars fan, is going to reveal. So I created a list. So first, I'm going to start with what was good about the movie, because it did have its good points. It really did. Rian Johnson honed in really well on this. All right, keep in mind, before I go over these notes, that this is a spoiler review. I'm not doing the general stuff. I can't. You can't do it with this movie. So if you haven't seen Star Wars Episode 8 yet, turn this off right now, go watch it, and come right back and talk to me. We're in spoiler town now. Get ready. Here we go. What was good about the movie? One, the visual effects. I loved how the opening sequence was this battle sequence between the First Order and the Resistance. It was like this whole fight, a dogfight going on. And it was funny. It wasn't really much of a dogfight in space, because it was pretty much all quite kind of just Poe by himself out there trying to lure the First Order. I liked the whole, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Like it was like cell phones or something. It was funny. Millennium Falcon, awesome. Another thing I liked about this movie was the callbacks, obviously, to the older films. For instance, people were wondering, especially me, what happened to Luke's green lightsaber. Well, guess what? We saw it. He was in a flashback. Luke was using it ready to kill Kylo Ren because he saw so much darkness in him. He felt like there was no hope for him. He looked really menacing there. Luke looked really bad, actually. I had friends telling me, he's going to turn to the dark side. For a split second, I thought that was the moment. I thought he did turn to the dark side. But he didn't, because he turned the lightsaber off and said, wait a minute, I got to really think about this. This is my nephew here. That was when Kylo woke up, destroyed the whole temple. He said, screw that, you're going to do this to me, I'm going to do this to you. We didn't see the green lightsaber again since. Maybe it's still there in the rubble. Maybe it's on Ahch-To in a box somewhere. Maybe Rey will pick it up, in Episode 9. Who knows? I would love to see that green lightsaber again. It's hot. Another callback was Leia's message from the original 1977 Star Wars, when R2-D2 decided to remind Luke about where his place was and all this. Because Luke looks like a defeated former Jedi Master, just doesn't want, he wants to die there, he wants to be alone, he's telling Rey to leave him alone, weird stuff like that. And R2 reminded him with that hologram from Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. So from A New Hope. So it was pretty cool to remind Luke where he came from. I liked Luke's reference to the Emperor from the original trilogy by his Sith title from the prequel trilogy, Darth Sidious. I was like, awesome. I like the connection. Yes, make the name there, because Darth Sidious, that name didn't exist in the original trilogy. That came up in the prequels, because of the whole Darth thing. And great. I thought that was great. Another thing I liked about the movie was the whole thing about Kylo Ren's inner conflict. Okay? Kylo Ren, you could tell that this guy's a broken guy. As a matter of fact, I saw it to be really pathetic when Supreme Leader Snoke told him, "You're a little boy, take that mask off." And that was bad. And it was like Kylo Ren was like, "I didn't want this mask anyway." So it was just like this thing with Kylo Ren. I mean, we saw him as kind of like a brat in the first film, but I think he's growing now. And I think there's something happening there. Another part of that is Rey's conviction. You see, Kylo Ren is pretty much convinced that he wants to embrace the dark side to its fullest. And we saw, finally, in this movie, I really believe this, that Rey chose, okay, you know what, you're going to go that way, I'm going this way. And there was this dynamic between the two. I enjoyed the dynamic. I liked the whole Force thing about them seeing each other and hearing each other and even being able to touch, the fingertips thing, the whole thing. I thought that was pretty hot. Another thing I liked about the movie was Yoda's cameo. Yoda shows up. Yoda! And it wasn't CGI Yoda from the prequels. It was puppeteer Frank Oz Yoda from The Empire Strikes Back. Don't think it was the same exact puppet. I think they have that in a museum somewhere. But nonetheless, it was there, and he was great. And he was Yoda, and he was still teaching Luke a lesson or two. And the biggest lesson he told him, and it actually hit me to the core because, sometimes I have to remind myself of this in lieu of my life experiences. And that is that, and I quote from Yoda now, failure is the greatest teacher. Another thing I liked was something I kind of predicted before the film came out, which was Luke's disappointment with the Jedi Order. When he was talking to Rey about why he left everything behind, was because of how the Jedi kind of monopolized the whole Force. The Force. Like, hey, if you don't do it our way, we'll kill you or torture you or exile you or whatever. Really messed up. I agreed exactly with that. There were Force users of all kinds. The Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice, but they used a dogmatic system that was too overly dogmatic that ended up probably contributing to the downfall of the Jedi when Sidious took over. I also liked that how Rey took the ancient books. You saw it in the Millennium Falcon at the end. I was like, oh. I also liked Luke's last moment with his sister, Princess Leia, General Leia, sorry, where they had that moment. And for those hardcore Star Wars fans who's in tune with the soundtrack, I caught immediately the music that was playing in that moment. That's actually their theme, Luke and Leia as brother and sister, as first presented by John Williams in Return of the Jedi. It showed up there again with Luke and Leia talking and how they were talking about Han and how Kylo Ren is really lost now and all that kind of stuff. I loved the brother and sister thing, and it was so bittersweet because, of course, Carrie Fisher passing away, you knew this was the very last scene we'll ever see them together, ever. So that kind of hit me right here. Okay, I kind of got over the stuff I liked about The Last Jedi. Now I'm going to go over the stuff I didn't like. Here we go. The cantina scene, looking for the hacker when Finn and Rose, the new character, went to that planet to look for, the hacker, and they found Del Toro there, stuttering like an idiot, trying to find it. I was like, I wouldn't have gone that way with it. Personally, I would have just liked seeing Rose already being the hacker and having the know-how of how to do that. And her and Finn going straight to the Star Destroyer or to the Juggernaut or whatever it was called. It had a special name to it, and I can't remember it right now. Going straight there to sneak in and try to take care of that. I thought that was the movie was an extra half an hour long, and I think that's a half an hour that could have been cut off with that nonsense. Here's the other thing I didn't like: Snoke is dead. Really? You create this character, right? In the last episode, right? J.J. Abrams got this, and I'm like, ooh, who's that? Is it Darth Plagueis? Is it somebody else? Is it this? Is it that? Everybody's wondering who is Supreme Leader Snoke. His mystery, his power. He's so strong in the dark side. Apparently he wasn't that strong. Kylo Ren freaking just moves the Skywalker lightsaber and points it in his direction and kills him by igniting it, using the Force. I'm like, wow, you didn't see that, Snoke? You didn't see that coming? How powerful were you really? I also didn't like the idea of that if you're going to create a character like that that's enshrouded in such mystery and such fascination, follow it through at least until the third film. Get us to know him a little bit more. You kill him in the middle of the film. I'm like, what was that about? Why even bring him in? I didn't like that. Hey, maybe he'll come back with mechanical arms the way Darth Maul did. He got cut in half after all. Alright, here's one thing I didn't like. Luke's death. Some people, some Star Wars fans thought it was awesome. Luke supposedly shows up on Crate to help the Resistance escape the onslaught of Kylo Ren and the First Order. And he shows up, he has that moment with Leia that I spoke of, and then he goes out there and confronts Kylo Ren. One thing I was bugging out at when I was seeing him come out is like, wait a minute, if he's there, how is he First of all, he has the Skywalker lightsaber on his side. When earlier in the film, I just saw that thing break in half. When Rey and Kylo Ren were like using the Force to gimme. It was back and forth. It was like tug of war, and then all of a sudden you see the lightsaber rip in half. And what happens? Luke shows up with it, and I'm like, I don't get that. It didn't come to me. I didn't realize it until finally it was clear that Luke wasn't there. He was still on Ahch-To, meditating on a rock, floating in midair, astral projecting himself over to Crate, making Kylo Ren think he was physically there. Kylo Ren tried to kill him, didn't work, and Kylo Ren realized, oh snap, you're not here. And he realized how powerful Luke really was. I mean, there's a part of it that I thought it was kind of cool, but again, for me, I would have loved to have just seen him show up physically in his X-Wing, because you saw it underwater. It was sitting there. He could have, what's the point of showing that if you're not going to, bring it over and fly to Crate with it? And him showing up, green lightsaber in hand, he fights off some First Order nonsense, and then finally he has that final contest with Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren kills him. Okay, you're going to kill him off that way. He disappears with a strike, a la Obi-Wan and Vader from New Hope. And then that would have been it. I would have found that to be a very honorable and very good way to go. For Luke to finally step by and let the new cast kind of like take the helm. But they, for reasons I don't understand, and I'll probably never understand, Rian Johnson decided to go with this. I'm like, okay. However, it was kind of cool still seeing Luke finally succumb, because obviously astral projecting like drains you of your life force, and then you die. And Luke died on a rock on Ahch-To. You see him dissolve, clothes fly away. I was like, okay, he's become one with the Force. Rose saves Finn. Finn looked like he was about to sacrifice his life to destroy that cannon that was about to destroy, and I thought that would have been an honorable way to go. And what does Rose do? She crashes right into that, like as if she thought that maybe that wouldn't have killed him. And then she gives him that stupid kiss. That was like the most awkward kiss in cinematic history. I never saw a kiss like that before in the screen. I was like, ew. Another thing I didn't like was, and this was towards the beginning of the film, Luke tossing his father's lightsaber over his shoulder. Like, I understand that Rian Johnson wanted to go in a different direction, but that was a little bit too much of a comedic attempt that failed, in my opinion. Another thing I found weird was Leia's, what I like to call Superman moment. When she got sucked out into space after getting blown up by Kylo's guys. Kylo didn't press the button. He was gonna shoot the bridge, but he didn't. His guys did. And she gets blown out into space. We think that's the end of her. I was thinking, okay, maybe they found a way to go around this in lieu of Carrie Fisher's actual death. But what does she do? She becomes, she creates like this force bubble or this thing around. She uses the force to kind of lead her way back to the hull of the Resistance ship to get her in. Of course, being out there in space messed her up, so they had to put her on life support. I get that part. I just didn't like that whole sequence of her flying through space like she was. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, here's something I thought was a waste. Poe's mutiny story arc, right? When the new girl, and I can't remember her name right now because I'm terrible with names. I'll put her face here, that one. She takes over temporarily for Leia, and she doesn't let Poe in on what happened. Oh, you're the demoted one. Oh, no, I'm the one that blew up Starkiller Base. I think I have some credential here. But they keep it from him, so because he doesn't know what's going on, he doesn't trust her in anything, so he decides to commit mutiny. Leia, apparently, when she wakes up from her thing, apparently it became clear that she knew the whole plan from the get. And she was so upset at Poe, she like stunned him. And when he woke up, she was like, Poe, come here. I thought that was funny. But nonetheless, I thought it was an arc that wasn't necessary. Like Poe should have known from the get. They should have filled him in. I mean, after all, he blew up Starkiller Base, man. The biggest threat to the galaxy since the Death Star. Why not? Oh yeah, here's a hole. Actually, a non-hole. Finn's jacket. Same jacket that Poe gave him in the other movie, in Force Awakens. And what happens? There's no tear in it. I mean, last time I saw that jacket, I saw Kylo Ren like rip right through his back with the lightsaber. I'm like, jacket looks pretty good. How do they have? Are those jackets in style? Is there a store in the, like a mini Macy's in the thing that you could get a new jacket for free? I don't know. Rey's parents. Okay, look, this one's my least thing that I'm upset about because I get the whole thing of you're nobody, your parents were nobody, they were drunk traders that sold you for money on Jakku, I get it. The Force can pick anybody. I mean, I think about Anakin's mom. The Force selected Anakin's mom. She was kind of a nobody. There was nothing special about her. So I kind of can see how that works, in that sense. But at the same time, why put it out there as a story arc, from the previous film about her parents, about what she wanted, I found that to be a little misleading. So what's the conclusion for me? The Last Jedi is going to be one of these movies that when I get it on Blu-ray, sadly, I'm just going to skim to the best parts. Kind of like what I do with The Phantom Menace. As a matter of fact, the only thing in Phantom Menace I skimmed to was the lightsaber battle between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon. I understood Rian Johnson's attempt to kind of break away from what was traditionally known as Star Wars lore and canon, and to trying to start something new. I get it. They're trying to bring in the new characters, and they're slowly killing off the old ones. I understand why. I'm not opposed to that part. I just have a problem with the way it was delivered. My rating is 2 moons. Yep, I'm giving this movie only 2 moons, going around a strange planet. And I never thought I'd rate a Star Wars movie without a few moons. Actually, I would give Phantom Menace 2 moons also. Think about it, now that I think about it. In lieu of me saying all this, guess what's happening? I am going to be in Wide Range Media Wednesday, December 20th, sitting down with my guys, Alex and Pablo, and they saw the movie too, and we all have different opinions about the film. And we're going to be talking about it live on YouTube Wednesday, December 20th at 9 o'clock. If you miss it, you can always watch the replay afterwards. I'm going to put the link below so that you can make sure to tune in on Wednesday, December 20th at 9 o'clock on Wide Range Media channel on YouTube, where myself, Alex, and Pablo are going to discuss Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. The whole show is going to be dedicated to this. We're not going to talk about anything else, really. because there's so much to cover. So much to cover. In the meantime, what are your thoughts about Star Wars The Last Jedi? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was just as good? Or do you think it was Talk to me. Let me know. Comment below and share with me your thoughts.